We have not always been a really good school system. At times we've struggled. And I tell people that, when I started in the system, and I think, when Donnella was coming through, and, we had schools that every time a list came out that you didn't want to be on, we had schools that were on that list. And so I think probably the biggest thing that's made a difference with us in terms of the progress we've made with growth on our assessments and closing the gap has been because we've taken the time to look inward instead of always looking for reasons to point the finger somewhere else. We stopped blaming kids. We stopped blaming parents. We stopped blaming when we don't have enough money. We stopped blaming the assessments. We went to work to try to raise expectations. We understand that there's challenges educating kids who are at risk. We understand and we accept that. There's a fine line between folks using those challenges as excuses and simply things that we ourselves have the responsibility of trying to knock down in terms of them being barriers. So that is what I think has made the difference, changing that culture and that attitude across the board with every not only certified employee but non-certified staff, bus drivers, parents, business and industry partners, trying to change how people thought about us and how we thought about ourselves has taken a long time. That part of the equation does not happen overnight. Putting in programs and those kinds of things are the easy part. It's the changes in attitude and culture that is the hard part. One of the things that have been particularly helpful to us is our use of data. Regardless of what the assessment ends up being or what an assessment is, that's the only thing that we have to drive instruction. And I think where we've had the most luck is looking at data on individual students. We don't spend a lot of time talking about subgroups. Our assumption is irrespective of which subgroup you're in, you can achieve at a high level. So what we do is we look at individual assessments and we try to move one kid at a time. If teachers know and understand the standards and they know who those kids are that we need to move to get in that category of meeting or exceeding expectations, that's the formula to me. Our job is to knock down barriers where we can that make student success difficult. And the big part of that has to do with changing the attitude. We have our share of kids who have all kind of difficulties that have nothing to do with school, but a lot of that can be overcome by just changing our mindset.
Yeah, there is a long-range goal, and he articulates it very well when he stands in front of our staff members and he says 100% proficiency across the board, no matter the assessment. That's the expectation.
One of the things that we're really proud of is our connection to economic development and workforce development, not only in Pike County, but it's kind of grown to a regional partnership with different groups. And our goal is to graduate somewhere around 30% of our seniors with an associate degree. Our goal is to take roughly the other 60 to 65% and graduate them with a dual enrollment short-term certificate through a post-secondary partnership, whether it be airframe and power plant, HVAC, electrical lineman, app development. There's a whole list of those that we're in negotiations with now with post-secondary folks that we can make those programs available either through direct instruction or through distance learning. That means if we do that we're looking at 90 or 95% of our kids that graduate from high school with some type of post-secondary credit, either that short-term certificate program or the full associate degree.
We're trying to approach the career tech not just from a hard skills, actually them having the certifications, but also from the soft skills portion, because when we hear from industry, we hear things like if they had soft skills, they would be such a better employee, and that's what our students need. So this ready to work program is designed to teach those soft skills, and the culminating certification with that is the Alabama Certified Worker through the AIDT program.
Our first reaction when we got the results were, hey, this looks good, but we were more focused on, well, what about this though? And then suddenly we're getting phone calls about, how are you doing this? It's like, how are we doing what? We still got to fix this, and this, and that's what we're looking at. Focusing on the individual student, subgroups will come along then, but because what works for every child is so different. What works for this subgroup doesn't work, what works for this kid works, and then everything will follow along with it. What we're looking at is almost, and Jeff and I both come from special ed backgrounds too, is we're looking at from our special ed kids all the way up to our high performing kids. Essentially what we've got going on is, it could be called an IEP. Every kid's an individualized plan of what's going to work best for them.
In some cases, we're breaking down generations of poverty, hopelessness, helplessness, that we're in a situation where nobody really believes in them. And once kids get that feeling, they can do anything. Most of this isn't things other districts can't do. They can be replicated. We're not a wealthy district.
We're workforce developers. It doesn't matter if you're a kindergarten teacher or a high school math teacher, we're workforce developers.